Hello everybody, my name is Average Election Enjoyer. Today is October 27th of 2025, and I just wanted to make a quick video detailing some of these early voting results that we can see coming out of Virginia here. And just a quick disclaimer, the results may not be what you were expecting. So, if we want to, here, first of all, I'm on cpap.org. This allows us to see, you can't see the margins or exactly how these counties are voting, but you can see the amount of ballots that are being turned in by county and how that turnout is sort of looking, how that total amount of ballots casted. That's sort of what you can see here with this map, and this is by House districts, cast by the House of Delegates district, and it gives the partisan lean, so that can help us see what's sort of going on here in this election. So the darker green means more ballots casted, lighter green less ballots casted, so you can see the least the county or district, that casted the least amount of votes is over here, 3,785. Most ballots casted is 19,267. So a common theme, as if you start going down this list, you can see some of these more Republican areas having not a lot of ballots cast, but these are some very unpopulated counties, very rural counties. But if you want to go down the list to see, you'll notice a lot of red going down these lists on most ballots cast, which is an interesting sort of thing that we're seeing in this election. And if you go down here, you see from a lot of these strong Democratic districts that you don't see a lot of early ballots casted, which is not something that a lot of people would have expected. If you know anything about elections, you'll know that it's usually Democrats who hold the edge in early voting, mail-in, and in-person, especially mail-in ballots, but just in-person voting overall. You know that Democrats tend to have somewhat of an advantage, and Republicans will come back with ballots on election day, and that's why you saw in 2020 a lot of states get declared so late for the Democrats when Republicans had a lead for so long. That's because they tend to count the day of ballots first, and then they tend to count the late ballots and ballots coming in later. That's why even in 2024 you could see that sort of similar thing occurring. If you remember, the margins on election day were nowhere near what the margins were when it was all said and done, and that's because a lot of Kamala Harris's supporters voted in person, they voted early, and their ballots were counted later. So you saw states sort of shift bluer than what they were. So this is an interesting sort of situation we're seeing here that a lot of people don't expect, is that a lot of these districts that are turning in these ballots early are Republican leaning and strong Republican districts. As you can see in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. In the top 10, you'll only see two Democratic districts here, and the rest of them either leaning Republican, being competitive, or being strong Republican districts. You can see here 71 right there, that's the competitive district, 74 which is right here. So you can see a lot of turnout from these sort of Republican districts here in the middle of the state, and then decent to low turnout over here. And as you get out towards this little section out here, you see a dramatic dip in total turnout here. But this is just because, not turnout, total ballots cast, but this because a lot of these counties are a lot less populated than you might see. So over here in a lot of these more populated districts, you see in these strong Democratic districts, not a lot of ballots being turned in, which is not a good sign if you are a Democrat. If you're looking at this, you can see some good turnout here in District 7. That's pretty good turnout here. District 5, District 16. So there still is turnout coming in, and this is, if you're a Democrat, these are not what you want to see, but these are not results that you should be completely freaking out about. Democrats still hold the edge in this election, um, and but this is just sort of something that might be catching your attention. Election night could be a lot closer um, than a lot of people might think, especially if with these counties being such low turnout. You want to see this get a lot darker blue in these next couple of days, because as I said, this is coming in live as we're speaking. Again, even here in Richmond over here, lower turnout in the cities. That is what we are seeing. Republicans higher turnout, and in the cities you see not a spectacular amount of turnout. And if you are a Democrat, you want to see those trends start to shift. Again, over here, this is Newport over here, and Norfolk. So a lot of votes here, not a lot of ballots cast in these areas. So you see not a lot of ballots being cast here in Norfolk, and if you go, sorry, Norfolk. If you go over here into Richmond, you see lower turnout, and also up here near DC. So a lot of these big Democratic voter sinks are not turning out in this election so far, and if you're a Democrat, that is worrying. And you see a lot of turnout here in these Republican districts. So if you're not trying to continuously reiterate my point here, but if you're a Democrat, these are not trends that you want to see continue. However, if you go over to the total amount of ballots cast, these are trends that you do want to see continue. If you're a Democrat, you want to see a lot of early ballots being cast. As I was saying, Democrats traditionally hold the edge in early voting, so Democrats are going to want to, in both Virginia and New Jersey, you're going to want to see Democrats sort of running up the score a bit before these elections. So again, over here, if you're looking at where these votes are coming from, you're not so happy. But if you're a Democrat, that is, if you're a Republican, this is very good. You like to see a lot of this turnout here. You could be a little with this part of the state over here, you could expect a little more, but you should be very ecstatic with what you're seeing here in this center part of the state here. And here, this is the sort of saving grace for Democrats, I guess, is that you could see a high early ballots cast, and that just traditionally would spell good things for Democrats. However, as you can see where the votes are coming from, but a lot of this, because we don't have the actual vote count, or we have the vote count, but we don't have the exactly which way the votes are splitting. It's unknown for now how that's sort of looking, but as you can see, compared to 2021, it's just getting even more and more of a gap between. So this is going to look like a high turnout election, which does tend to favor Democrats. And if you look here, you can see that in CD1, they have already surpassed the amount of votes. If you're looking at this graph and you're confused why 2021 it looks like such a big difference, even though if you look up here, there's more of a vote. Now, that's because if you're looking at 2021, that's all the way till November 4th, while for 2025, as I said, it's only October 27th, which means there still is about a week to go in early voting. So you're going to see a lot of these continue to overtake these sort of totals. If we go here, you can see that for mail-in ballots from CD1, CD2, they're all below the 2021 counts. That's sort of to be expected. 2021 nearly COVID. However, you can see they're very close to surpassing it, and with a week to go, you can imagine that some of these districts might be overtaking. And for mail-in and in-person, you can see lots of in-person votes coming in, especially, as I said, CD1. And some of these other districts, CD6, very close, and surpassed in CD5. So again, if you're a Republican and you're seeing these results, you're fairly happy. because mail-in ballots tend to be dominated by Democrats. Republicans tend to not have an affinity for these mail-in ballots. If you pay attention to politics, you'll know for a lot of reasons that Republicans claim and Democrats claim different things. I try not to get too much into the policy on this channel, but if you know anything about politics, you know Democrats tend to vote mail, or not tend to vote mail like total percentage, but Democrats are much more likely to be voting in mail. So if you're a Democrat, you're hoping to see these counts go up even more past what they were. You see that some of these are close. This is pretty good results for a week of. You're going to hope that it gets keeps extending. You're going to see more mail-ins. However, with in-person, which is where Republicans would traditionally vote, you see a lot of these, like in this district, you see some larger margins compared to here in some, but in some you see, of course, a lot more votes. So if you're a Republican and you're seeing this, you're very happy with these early voting results that you see coming in. And this isn't going to change anything for my prediction. Again, Democrats definitely would still hold the margin, just in terms of Virginia being a very blue state, Virginia being uniquely affected by this sort of attack on the bureaucracy. Virginia, a lot of circumstances happening in Virginia. The Republican candidate Earl Sears not running a particularly amazing campaign, but you can see a lot of these early results are looking good for the Republicans. It's looking like it's going to be a closer race than a lot of people might expected, and it might signal a shift in momentum in this state for the upcoming governor's election. However, of course, nothing's confirmed. We don't know these sort of, as I said, the voter split. Could be a lot of Democrats voting early in these Republican areas, even though probably not. But you don't know until election day and the results that come out after. However, that is sort of some trends that we can read in this early data that we are being given. So I would like to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.